Do you still remember the word for TV?
电视
And computer?
电脑
And what was the full word for brain?
脑子
How would you say he's in China?
他在中国
Say, she's speaking at the moment.
他正在说话
And what about just, she's speaking?
他在说话
But now say, what is she saying?
他在说什么他在说什么
Notice, because we've used 什么 on the end, we don't include 话. This is a consistent pattern you've already encountered in Mandarin. For example, how did you say he's eating?
他在吃饭
But how did you say what is he eating?
他在吃什么他在吃什么
Now say, I'll give him a call.
我给他打电话
How did you say he wants me?
他要我
So how would you say he wants me to give him a call?
他要我给他打电话他要我给他打电话
Now try and say, he said he needed to call the restaurant.
他说他需要给饭店打电话他说他需要给饭店打电话
Notice again, 话 is left off when 说 is used mid-sentence. But how would you say they are speaking?
他们在说话他们在说话
And what about he didn't speak?
他没有说话
Say, on the table.
在桌子上
How might you say they are on the phone?
他们在电话上
Now, this is grammatically correct. However, it's not how the Chinese express it. The Chinese prefer to just say, they are calling. Listen.
他们在打电话他们在打电话
This means they're on a call together. How did you say at the moment?
正在
How might you say he's on a call at the moment?
他正在打电话他正在打电话
What was the word for TV?
电视电视
How did you say he's watching TV?
他在看电视他在看电视
Do you remember the word for to study?
学习学习
And what about student?
学生学生
How would you say there are 8 students in the restaurant?
有8个学生在饭店里。Or, 饭店里有8个学生。
How would you say, the students are watching TV?
学生们在看电视。
What about, the students are all watching TV?
学生们都在看电视。
And do you still remember the word for company or corporation?
公司。公司。
What was the word for hello?
你好。
This is frequently referred to as hello. However, in reality, it's the hao that is the greeting, and the ni is specific to who you are greeting. For example, how did you say, hello everyone?
大家好。
And how might you say hello to 2 or 3 people?
你们好。你们好。
So you can see that adding hao to the end of any noun is a way of greeting that person or group of people. The more specific you are with your greeting, the warmer and more polite it'll be. How did you say, hello teacher?
老师好。老师好。
Using ni there would sound quite cold, as if you have no connection with your teacher. To be even more polite, you can address them by their family name as well. For example, Ilan's surname is Luan. This is how you would say, hello teacher Luan.
栾老师好。栾老师好。
And you would apply a similar method for your boss, manager, chairman, director, CEO, etc., each time using their name and respective title, followed by hao. So you can see ni hao is only really used when greeting an individual you currently have no relation with. In other situations, it's best to replace the ni with the person or group's title and name. Now, how did you ask, how are you?
你怎么样？
This was how you casually ask a friend how they're doing. You would be unlikely to use it with someone you didn't know or didn't wish to get into a conversation with. Frequently, the purpose of a greeting is just to acknowledge a person's presence, and neither of you wish to start a conversation. English struggles with this, as we frequently say, how are you, or how are you doing, which is an open-ended question and prone to being misunderstood by foreigners and even natives alike as an invitation for a heart-to-heart discussion. The Chinese solution to this social quagmire is to acknowledge people by just mentioning the action they're doing. For example, if you bump into your neighbour coming home at the end of the day, you might say,
回来了。回来了。回来了。回来了。
This means to have come back, or, oh, you're back, and it's literally an observation of what they're doing, returning home. The first character, hui, means to return. However, return can refer to either going or coming. For example, he's gone back to China, or he's come back to China, depending on where the speaker is situated. So the second character, lai, meaning to come, clarifies the direction. Then, finally, the particle le lets us know it's a completed action. Say again, to have come back, or to have returned.
回来了。
You'll hear this type of greeting many times based on what you're doing. For example, you might hear 出门啊 for, oh, you're off out, or 来了 for, oh, you've arrived. To reply to such statements, you just need to repeat it. So if someone says 你回来了, you reply with
回来了。
and depending on the situation, it's sometimes also fine to just say yeah or correct.
对呀，
Do you remember how you said he came or he arrived?
他来了，
And how did you say he came back or he returned here?
他回来了，
So how might you say, I don't want to come back? Use would like here.
我不想回来，我不想回来，
How would you say, he will come back on Sunday?
他星期日要回来，他星期日要回来，
Ask who.
谁呀？谁呀？
Notice the addition of a to the end of that. We can't use ma because shay is a question word, but adding just makes such a short question a little less blunt. Say, my older brother.
我哥哥，
Say, he went to Japan last year.
他去年去日本，
Ask, why did he go to Japan?
他为什么去日本呢？他为什么去日本呢？
Ask, how are you?
你怎么样？
Now to ask, how is it he went to Japan, or how come he went to Japan, you can say, how did he go to Japan? Listen.
他怎么去日本呢？他怎么去日本呢？
And depending on the tone, that can mean both how did he go, as in by plane or by boat, but also why or how is it he went to Japan. Reply, he is learning Japanese there.
他在那里学日语。他在那里学日语。
How did you ask where?
哪里？
Listen to how you would say, where in Japan?
日本哪里？日本哪里？
Ask, where did he go in Japan?
他去日本哪里？他去日本哪里？
Say, he went to Tokyo, literally Eastern capital.
他去东京。他去东京。
Say, I gave him a call yesterday.
我昨天给他打电话了。我昨天给他打电话了。
Say, he said he will return the day after tomorrow.
他说他后天要回来。他说他后天要回来。
Notice the speaker used lie there, so you know they're referring to returning here as opposed to returning to Japan. Do you remember the words for telephone, computer, film, and TV?
电话、电脑、电影、电视。电话、电脑、电影、电视。
And how did you say this, that, and which?
这个、那个、哪个。
And here, there, and where.
这里、那里、哪里。
And what were the 5 times of day? Early morning, late morning, midday, afternoon, and evening.
早上、上午、中午、下午、晚上。
What were the words for in front and behind?
前面、后面。
And what about before and after?
以前、以后。
How did you say, my friend has no time?
我朋友没有时间。我朋友没有时间。
And what about the time when I was in China, or when I was in China?
我在中国的时候。我在中国的时候。
How would you tell someone not to speak?
你不要说话。你不要说话。
And what was the word for goodbye?
再见。
And what about see you tomorrow?
明天见。
And see you in the evening?
晚上见。
How would you say $900?
900块。900块。
And do you still remember the full word for brain?
脑子。
What was the word for to eat?
吃饭。
How did you say eat apples?
吃苹果。
And what was the word for to come back or to return here?
回来。
Can you take a guess at how you would say return home?
回家。回家。
Notice the lai is dropped from return home, just as fan is dropped from to eat apples. It is the hui that means to return, and lai is added to indicate direction. But when a destination is specified, you don't need to clarify the direction, so there's no need to use lai. This is similar to how fan is added to 吃饭 and hua is added to 说话 when there are no clarifiers. However, you could still choose to use lai or chu if you wanted to be extra clear, and in such situations, you would put them at the very end and say
回家去 or 回家来。回家去 or 回家来。
Now, what was the word for country?
国家。
Can you take a guess at how you would say return to your country? Hint, it's just 2 characters.
回国。回国。
This habit of dropping characters is very prevalent in Mandarin, and it can trip up foreign learners, so pay special attention to it and recognize how they do things differently. It's another reason why you need to start thinking in a Chinese manner and not just translating from English. Ask, when are you returning home, meaning to your country?
你什么时候回国 or 你什么时候要回国？
But, now being more specific, how would you ask, when are you returning to America?
你什么时候回美国？
Now imagine you were in China. If you wanted to say, I don't want to return, you would need to specify which direction you mean. If you said,
我不想回来。
this would mean, I don't want to return back here to China, meaning that when you go to America, you don't want to come back. However, if you want to say, I don't want to go back to America, you would need to use 回去